In last horizon of astrology in Dasha Nirnay series, we are speaking to Astromaster U K Jha. Astromaster, as he told several facts on Vimshotari Dasha system in your last series. Can you put some more light on use and popularity of Vimshotari Dasha system? Do you think that it is popular because its calculation and application is quite simple? Hence, Vimshotari Dasha is users friendly. Again, will you explain its configuration or pattern or composition of operation through astronomical principle? So we request you to throw some light on Vimshotari Dasha system popularity or the truth behind Vimshotari Dasha system, Astromaster.
It is true that Vimshotari Dasha system is being used by very large majority of astrologers today, as large as almost more than 95% you can say. But we cannot say that this is being used because it is either very efficacious and give results, or it is very users friendly, or its calculations are simple and intelligible. I don't think these are the reasons for its use by the large number of the astrologers. There are something else which has made it more popular, and that is the result of the works done long back, rather a few millennia earlier, and it was directed to make this Dasha popular at the cost of all other Dasha systems, and I will come over it after a few while. Here I am telling you that Vimshotari Dasha is no doubt a marvelous Dasha system. If we talk in terms of astronomy, it is perhaps the most logical Dasha system for understanding the configuration and pattern of operation. Its composition appears to be most sound, at least on the upper surface, I would say. So there is no surprise that this Dasha is the most widely used Dasha system today. And it is also true that over 95% of the astrologers apply only Vimshotari Dasha for delineation of the horoscope at present in the country. Now you asked me about this you have actually tried to compare the region of its popularity with the region of the popularity of the Navamsa chart in the astrology. But I think the regions are not same. There is a great difference between the popularity of the Navamsa chart, and the popularity behind the use of Vimshotari Dasha system. The Navamsa chart became popular by default So it was due to the changing scenario that occurred in the history, and because of certain conditions that this Dasha system became popular. But there is not much trace of conspiracy behind the popularity of Navamsa chart. However, in the case of Vimshatari Dasha system, the elements of conspiracy for making it popular is palpable. We can see it clearly if we try to look into the things with a with an open and logical mind. But before giving a fuller exposition on the dark and less known side of Vimsotri Dasa, I would like to dwell on something else for some time. For that is quite relevant even in today's parlance. Let me tell you here in very bold words that astrology was never the subject of astronomers. Since beginning, it was the science of the occultists who also possessed sound knowledge of astronomical phenomena. Initially, almost all the astrologers were adept in occult science and possessed knowledge of astronomy. But all the astronomers were not astrologers, even in olden days, I am telling. But it is also a fact that astrology contains very little of the astronomical calculations. And astronomical calculations are used only in the beginning for drawing the chart or erecting the chart, because its main thrust rests with fixing the exact degree of the sign rising at the horizon at the time of birth. And then to determine the position, I mean longitude of the planets in the zodiac at the time of the birth again. With this nearly ends the astronomical calculation for the astrologers, and most of the computations that is done afterwards for delineation of the horoscope and say for finding out the results have nothing to do with astronomy. Those calculations are different and have been evolved by the sages with their own insight and supersensory perceptions, and that is mostly done by the on the basis of the position of the planets that we worked out in the beginning while erecting the birth map. The calculation of the position of planet and rising sign on the horizon at the time of birth is required basically for tracing the karmic vibrations of the embodied ego, say for proper treatment as per the rules of astrology. As such, the astrological things cannot be understood with the difficult and cumbersome calculations of astronomy. Any such effort is merely a wastage of time in my opinion. The pristine principles of astrology cannot be understood, nor can it be explained with the help of mathematics of astronomy. Why I am telling this? Because the astrological principles are completely different and are nowhere dependent upon the astronomical parameters. For example, no astronomer, howsoever he make or howsoever deep he may go to the study of Venus, would ever be able to say as to why Venus can generate sensual avidity or infuse sexual currents in the native, or why Mars can give anger, valor, courage, etc., or how Jupiter can work to give education, learning, wealth, etc., etc. These things cannot be explained through astronomical calculations and studies. These things were found by the sages with the help of their occult perceptions. That's why I always tell that it is imprudent to make any attempt to understand astrology with the help of astronomy. Vimshotari Dasha system is probably the first major step taken by the astronomers to enter into the domain of astrology, and naturally the resistance would have been there in expected lines. I am telling you this is astronomically most perfect Dasha systems. It is visible from every side. The order of planets operating in Mahadasha or major period is almost in the same order. That is the order of the distance of the planets from Earth in the outer and inner orbit. Then Rahu has been, jutted in between Mars and Jupiter in the outer orbit, whereas Ketu has been fitted between Mercury and Venus in the inner orbit. Dasha periods allotted to different planets have also some astronomical justifications. But in spite of all these things, this Dasha was initially not accepted by the scholars of astrological world. This is because the nakshatras were divided. Three nakshatras, that is Phagni, Ashad and Bhadra, and numbers were increased from 24 to 27 because they wanted to give lordship to all the 9 planets in Vimshotari Dasha systems. Before that, before Vimshotari Dasha system, when number of nakshatras were 24, either Rahu or Ketu was being taken in the scheme, as you can say in case of Ashtotri, Dwadasotri and Shodasotri Dasha systems, etc. Because the earlier perception was that Rahu and Ketu give effects in complementary manner and they don't work in separate ways. But after Vimshotari Dasha system, the attempts were made to establish that Rahu gives separate effects and Ketu gives separate effects, and there is nothing like a complementary type of functioning between the same. But this concept is erroneous because when we go for the divisional charts of higher divisions, we find that in so many charts, Rahu and Ketu fall in the same sign. That means they are not always in opposition. Their functions are certainly in say complementary manner for each other. It was only after the Vimshotari Dasha system that the effects of these two planets were described separately. Earlier it was taken as complementary for each other. So this was another reason for the scholars not to accord acceptability or acceptance to this Dasha readily. A strong resentment was there in astrological circle, and many blame great Barahamihir also for according acceptance to this phenomena, although such a blame is, in my opinion, is not proper. But I can say that Barahamihir did not give acceptance to Vimshotari Dasha system, as is evident from the fact that this Dasha has not been included in Brihad Jatak. Even Gunakar has not included this in Hora Makaran, that shows that resentment and non-acceptability for this Dasha was there. What Barahamihir actually did, and what I think he was at the last prevailed upon to accept, that he accepted the 27 nakshatras, because from astrologer's side he was the great personality who was very sound both on astrological and astronomical front. He was a great mathematician also. So resistance put up by him was perhaps the strongest after this decision which was taken, which is said to have been taken in some conclave in Ujjain much before Barahamihir. So Barahamihir was, I think, persuaded to accept that thing, at least for mathematical point of view, and Barahamihir accepted that also in his mathematical books, and for that also many people blame that he was bribed. All these things sound ridiculous, but it certainly gives some idea about the controversy which was prevalent at the time of Barahamihir in astrological field, and major reason for this controversy was the acceptance of Vimshotari Dasha on the basis of the division of the nakshatras. Even too many astrologers continue to blame Barahamihir in their essays. Once Barahamihir accepted mathematical part of it, that was construed that he has accepted in principle Vimshotari Dasha also, and that opened the gate for its acceptance, and the books that were written afterwards contains the proof of the massive campaign that was launched to make this Dasha popular in astrological circle. So you can find it even in Brihat Parasar Hoda Shastra, because you will find that this Dasha has been eulogized in very clear terms and at the cost of all other Dasha systems that were prevalent at that time. At one place, this book tells, Dasha Bahuvidhastasu Mukhya Vimshotari Mata, meaning there are many types of Dasha systems, but the main Dasha systems, the principal Dasha, is the Vimshotari Dasha only. So, an impression or a message was given to the posterity that this Dasha should be given more importance. Further, this book tells, Kalo Vimshotari Tasmat Dasha Mukhya Dujottama, O superior of the Brahman, in Kali Yuga, that is in current era that we are living, only Vimshotari will be considered as the main Dasha systems, and it will be found more efficacious for finding out the results. Except for BDS, see, all these things show that an effort was being made to popularize this Dasha. Not only that, except for VDS, the use of all other nakshatras, that is nakshatra based Dasha systems, have been made conditional. Evidently, that was meant to prevent the application of other types of nakshatradi Dasha. But opposition continued in simmering manner, because the Ashtotri Dasha was being perhaps practiced by a large number of astrologers who were not inclined to accept this Vimshotari Dasha system, although the books contained the results that in detail about the Vimshotari Dasha systems only. So, a rumor was spread that Vimshotari Dasha is a very special Dasha and it cannot be given to everybody. It writes, Yasme kasmena datavyam jnanametat sudurlabham. Such a supernal knowledge cannot be given to all. So forget those who are practicing other Dasha systems, mainly the Ashtotri Dasha systems. Then at one place we find that this Dasha was left for the people who were living in provinces like Gujarat, Saurashtra, Panchal, Sindh, which is now in Pakistan, etc. Because the relevant shloka says, Gurjare Kachha Saurashtre Panchale Sindhu Parvate Ete Ashtotri Sreshta Anye Vimshotri Mata. That means in all these provinces, Ashtotri is considered better, but at all other places, Vimshotri Dasha has the dominance in its use. Elsewhere, in some other book, I also found this, a modified version of this sloka, which read something like, Gurjare Vang Saurashtre Panchale Sindhu Parvate Kalingoshtottari Sreshta Anye Vimshotri Mata. Here Bang and Kaling, two mode words have been used. That means this Ashtotri Dasha was also prevalent in the beginning at in Bengal and Kaling, Odisha. Panchal means the central part of the Uttar Pradesh, round about say Ruhelkhand area and etc. See, what all this indicate that the scholars of these provinces and these areas bluntly refuse to accept the Vimshotari Dasha system. This shows the opposition that Vimshotari Dasha faced in the beginning, and from the description of the books we can see that how meticulously its popularity was engineered. So we cannot say that this dasha became popular because of its efficacy or any say superior quality that it contains, maybe in terms of users friendly or easy calculation, etc., as you have told in the beginning. No, this dasha was made popular just to establish the superiority or to allow an entry of astronomers into the field of astrology. In this way, we find that the pillars of this seemingly say grand dasha is posted upon the pedestals of a heinous say conspiracy in academic circle. Yet it is said and accepted as great dasha system at the cost of everything else, at the cost of all other dasha systems, and even at the cost of our wisdom and sense of discrimination.